Greetings, YouTubers. It's your buddy Choppadong. I am coming at you with an MLB related video today. It's the daily sport that we like to cover, but I will also tell you that preseason NFL Week 1 kicks off this Thursday with an 11 game slate. You're definitely going to want to tune in to DFSArmy.com and get the information that you rely on to make you a better player. You can do that by clicking down there in the comments section, DFSA or DFSArmy.com. Use the coupon code CHOP to trigger a 20% off discount, or for the first time ever, use the coupon code TRIAL, TRIAL, and try us out for $10 for 5 days. Super easy decision. We produce winners on a weekly basis. MLB, PGA, NASCAR, MMA, doesn't matter. NFL, we smashed it last week as a group. So we've really cranked it up a notch in terms of our coaching sheets, and our efficiency in helping you become a better player faster by giving you the tools necessary, and then the advice and the coaching behind the scenes to show you how to use those tools to create your own winning lineups. And of course, we've got an optimizer that does it too. I'm not going into the optimizer today because honestly, I think that we can do that here and there. But today I just wanted to get you a quick player pool for MLB and some basic information, stacks, pitching, whatever. But most importantly, remind you the draft kit is here with season-long rankings. If you're getting ready to do your season-long drafts, you're going to want to get in here. You know what? For that trial, for those 5 days, you get a few days of baseball. You probably get to see us start formulating our PGA and our NASCAR slates, and you're going to get season-long or the preseason NFL this Thursday night, and you're going to get access to the coaching sheets and the coaches and everything to kick that week 1 off right. And then when it kicks off right, you come back and become a member. It's just that simple. So that's what I'm hoping that you do is jump down into the comment section, click that link, use that code, either CHOP if you want to just you're going to be here, or TRIAL if you want to try us out for 5 days. Let's dive into the research station, talk a little bit about pitching because today's slate is really interesting. It's wide open. If I look over here through the research station, where you might find that is under the MLB tab down here, research station. We have a tutorial set up to show you how to use that. I use it very, very basic, very, very shallow research just to get started in the right direction. And then I don't know exactly where my research is going to go throughout the day. It doesn't often change dramatically, but I listen to some of our coaches. I dig into numbers on my own. Depends on how much time I have through the day to really do my own research, or lean on some of our experts that are spending all day long doing it. So I'll go either way with that. And then I usually dive in, give our members a quick video on the optimizer or the domination station, show them how I'm assembling my lineups for the day a little bit later in the day. I do that a couple of times a week, it seems, for our VIPs. So if you want a little bit more advice, you can get it that way. I would take K-score and I would sort descending order first. And the reason why is I want the optimal matchups for strikeout upside at the top. So I've got Morton Savali here, if that's how you pronounce his name, at a 5'10", is a very small sample size with only 5 batters faced on the left-handed side of the plate. So not really much to go with there. Velasquez, I think we know, can be very up and down. His last start looked good on paper. Wasn't a very good one. Turnbull, now we're getting down into the lower K-scores where, we really don't have much to pick from today. So it's automatically looking like you're going to pay up for Morton today, like it or love it. That's just where you're going to be. Then I'm going to look down a little bit more into this mid 400s range. And I find your Tanakas, Giolitos, Castillos, Odorizzi's. Yes, Giolito has a decent matchup today. Odorizzi probably doesn't in terms of Vegas. When I slide over to the Vegas side of things, these no lines, I have them written down, so I'll go ahead and tell them to you where I go when we have no lines posted here yet, as I'll run to vegasinsider.com and look them up there. But you can see the big favorite here on Charlie Morton at a minus 260. This is just very GPP with Savali here. Velasquez minus 110 is not great. These others, Turnbull's an underdog at a plus 145. Tanaka is a favorite at a minus 260. So if you like the cushion of Vegas thinking that the Yankees should win the game, then you might lean there to save a little bit of money off of a Morton. I would just temper your expectations with that because you're giving up an awful lot of strikeout upside when that happens. So if you catch some great big performance out of Tanaka, then that's what you're getting is an outlier performance. What I typically teach people to build is something a little bit safer than that. And if we have to pay up for pitching, then that's just what we have to do. I want you to have the best shot at floor and ceiling tonight, not only ceiling. I'm not saying Tanaka doesn't have a floor. I'm just saying it's not as safe as Charlie Morton's, even for the price considerations. Giolito's a minus 160. Castillo is a plus 240 here. And then Odorizzi's like a minus 110. Nothing special there. So if I look side by side, go back over here to their pricing. I'll start looking at Fanduel pricing. I see 10-1 is pretty expensive for Morton, but it's not prohibitive. 9-8, I don't want Giolito over Morton in that matchup. I don't want Castillo for sure. I'm just going to take Morton in that price range and move on. Now, if I was going to pay down, I don't know that I'd go all the way down, but it looks like I can come down quite a ways. I can gamble on Velasquez. I can take Tanaka, who's probably a little safer than Velasquez, or an Odorizzi type, and I can get a couple of decent starters out of that range. That doesn't mean these other guys down here are not in play. It just means that in terms of strikeout upside and being able to cover some mistakes by allowing some runs, these guys have more potential tonight, and that's what I typically bank on. I want strikeouts. This is a strikeout or home run league, and I want strikeouts because I can give up a couple of runs and still post a nice score. That's how I look at things, and I want the best cost, I guess, value per dollar that I can find. And tonight in these guys here, I don't know that I need that $3,000. Morton's expensive, but he's not too terribly expensive. I'd probably start right here. If I built 3 lineups, he'd be in 2 of them, if not all 3, depending on the value that I find later when lineups get released. And then I might drop down and gamble on a Velasquez or Tanaka or Odorizzi in one of them. Giolito and Castillo will not be in my player pool tonight. They just won't. If I run a contrarian type lineup situation, I'm not going to do it necessarily in the pitcher because at $10,000 for both pitchers, I'm going to actually end up on the same batter pool. And then it comes down to who picked the pitcher, right? I don't gain as much leverage, in my opinion, on just switching the pitcher. I'd rather switch the bats. So I'd rather use Morton and some cheap bats and then use, somebody like Odorizzi or Velasquez and then some more expensive bats. I'd rather end up because that gets me a completely different lineup construction, which then allows me to hedge those 2 Charlie Morton lineups. Now, with a Charlie Morton, I'm probably not going to stack Boston. I'm probably not going to stack the New York Yankees. Not going to be able to unless I go down to the bottom of the order with the cheaper guys and do it there. But we'll see. Let's go look into the stacks that we might want to look for. And to do that, I'm going to sort DFS A grade by descending order. And I'm looking down here towards the bottom, the bad grades, because these are typically bad pitchers. And some of these guys have no score whatsoever. And then there's a few that are under the 35 or so. So I might start here with a Samardzija. But what I'm looking for is a section just littered with pink, like right here at Fed. Feddy's got a bunch of pink in him, right? I could stack against him just fine. 4 walks per 9 innings, a little bit of home run stuff, but his whip is up there with that. Walks are killing his whip at a 1.5, and he's got a 5.0 basically, Sierra. So that's a pitcher that's not very good in relation to this slate. I'm also going to come down here to Yanoa here. He's got a 2.65 walks, and that's fine. But 14% strikeout percentage is very, very low. He pitches to a ton of contact. And I've got 1.77 home runs per 9 with a 1.42 whip and a 5.12 Sierra, which tells me that I want to attack a pitcher like that because he's going to give up the long ball. I scroll over here just a little bit more and I find low K score but high W score, which means he gives up WOBA against, and the team that he's facing has a pretty strong WOBA for. So that's a green light and a green light for the offense. The offense has a high WOBA and they're facing a pitcher with a low WOBA, with a higher WOBA allowed, I should say, and a lower K score, which tells me he's not striking out a lot of people. That's a good sign. So when I look over here at other pitchers, like in the bottom here, we've got a very small sample size, of course, with Agrizal here, but you're looking at 42% fly balls, 1.95 home runs per 9, 5.8 Sierra, stackable offense against. Go up a little bit more here, and you can see that Samardzija is getting some pink across the board, and Michael Wacha back in the rotation has 4 walks per 9, 1.5 home runs, and a 1.42 whip with almost a 5 Sierra. Michael Wacha is not great. Michael Wacha is also the one area you might overthink it is Michael Wacha is not going to probably see the third time through the lineup. The Cardinals with him are actually pretty big on not letting him face the lineup the third time through. However, the bullpen is pretty solid. So if he gets an early start, 6, 7 innings, 6 innings, five, 6, then you might see the bullpen come in and sort of shut him down. However, it's not, the bullpen ranks pretty well, but it's not like the bullpen is infallible. Miller gives up home runs. Some of these guys can give up the long ball too. So you've probably got yourself, you're splitting hairs a little bit if you're really talking about how early that bullpen's going to get in there. I wouldn't worry about it too much. I'd really be more into attacking the starter and then bank on the fact that the bullpen is actually a little bit vulnerable, even though it looks pretty good on paper. I might even come up here to Velasquez because we saw what happened to him. So if these are the guys that I'm looking for, I scroll back over here and I go, all right, Fed, that's San Francisco. Probably a weaker offense, not interested. Come down here to Velasquez, Arizona. Did they just put up a lot of runs yesterday or the day before? Of course they did. And at home, they're in a pretty good spot. The home teams are in yellow. So being that the Phillies are white, that means that it is in Arizona. That's how you read this little section here. I scroll down a little bit more and I look at Waka. That's the Dodgers. Hello. Dodgers are probably in a good spot tonight. I look down a little bit more, Samardzija, Washington, probably in a good spot tonight. Yankees against probably in a good spot tonight. All the way down here to Agrizal, Milwaukee, probably in the best spot tonight. So these are the teams that I'm looking to stack. Here's how I'm going to verify that. I go back to the batting matchups page. And on this front page right here, just the front page, how many of these teams am I going to start seeing when I look down this front page? That are the top ranked in terms of DFSA grade, which is overall matchups. How many of these guys have high DFSA grade matchups? I come over here and I see Milwaukee, 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 5 on the front page alone. That's a good sign Milwaukee's in a good spot to stack tonight. I look down at Tampa Bay and I see 2. And I look at Boston and I see 2. And then I look at St. Louis and I see just the 1. And I look at the Dodgers and I see 1, 2. So Milwaukee has 5 and nobody else has 2 yet, or any more than 2 yet. I see Arizona with 2. I see Cincinnati with a couple. I see Washington with 1. So really and truly you could play the one-off. You could stack Milwaukee and play one-offs from there. Or you could stack a different team if you want to. But the way I would do this is I would start writing this down. The teams that I like, Milwaukee, Arizona, Dodgers, a couple of teams that I'd mentioned, Washington, a couple of teams I mentioned before, and then I'm going to go dig into those numbers a little bit. And one way I might do that is I might pop over here to where's my ISO number and just go starting pitcher ISO by descending order. That's going to tell me the pitcher allows this ISO to this handed of bat. So when I scroll back over, in this case, Agrizal allows a 276 ISO to right-handed bats. And so if I see a 304 in Hura, a 304 ISO for him against right-handed pitching, and I see a 276 against given up to right-handed bats, that's a double green light again. That's big ISO per the handedness of the pitcher versus big ISO given up by the pitcher to that handedness of bat. And that's a good sign that Hura's in a good spot to hit a home run tonight. Will he? I don't know. But he's in a good spot to hit one, and he's worth taking a shot on. And I scroll down here, nobody else really popping off that Milwaukee lineup from the right side. But we come down, they got power lefties. I think we know that. We come down here a little bit more, and now we're looking at what? Toronto. Right-handers facing Jacob whatever, Wagyu Spack or whatever the heck his name is. Just call him Spackle for all I care. 247 ISO against. There's a 235 in Aguilar. So 196, which is close, in Tommy Pham against righties. Come down here a little bit more. There's a 210 in Mike Zunino. It's a cheap little play there. So this is actually Tampa Bay, not Toronto's, obviously, where this guy pitches. But coming over here to the Tampa Bay side of things, they're in a decent spot tonight. If you wanted to use that number, you get a little lower on stack because they probably won't carry the high implied run total. They probably won't trip the radar quite as high as like a Milwaukee or somebody might. So you might get a little lower ownership there. And you might get some value plays there that would allow you to take a Charlie Morton and stack some of these bats that are in high power opportunities to hit the ball over the wall. Scroll down a little bit more, the 240s here, and you can see there's not a ton in this 240 range except for Escobar. Oh, this is Arizona. Avila, not Avila, it looks like David Peralta if he's in the lineup. Scroll down a little bit more. You've got Matt Adams and Juan Soto going out in San Francisco. So these are the one-offs that you might pair with that Milwaukee stack. You could also check the trends tab and you can start looking for which teams are hitting better than the others. If I actually go to the Trends Overview tab, I can see which teams are actually hitting better in terms of the last 7 days WOBA as a team, and it's Minnesota, St. Louis. Look, Tampa Bay is doing fairly well. So when I hit the plus sign and I open up Tampa Bay, this is all of the last 7-day WOBAs. Meadows, Garcia, Sogard, Aguilar to 602 WOBA with a high ISO on ISO is telling me he would be a cornerstone piece if I was stacking Tampa Bay. 544 in Choi. Come down here a little bit more. Zunino to 389 isn't terrible. Up from 274 2 weeks ago, telling me he's ascending. He's on the rise. He's maybe heating up. Maybe there's room for him to continue heating up, and he was a power on power guy. See how you start to decipher some of these numbers? But you only get these numbers by being a member of DFSArmy.com. So based on that, I'm going to go ahead and close these down and just leave it at that and tell you this is why you have to become a member. You've got people like me that can guide you through these research sheets and discuss these thoughts instead of just throwing a lineup out there and saying, hey, how's my lineup look? My answer from now on is going to be, looks great. Because it's not teaching you anything. It's not teaching me anything. It's taking my valuable time away from people that are actually asking detailed questions. If you want to talk strategy and you want to talk where to read these numbers, where to find these numbers, research process and things so that you can actually learn to fish for yourself, then you need to get in here and you need to become a member. And when you do, you use that code TRIAL or you use the code CHOP, either one. Click that link in the comments section and unlock everything, not just baseball. Unlock NFL, unlock NBA when it rolls around, unlock MMA, NASCAR, PGA if you want to learn these different things. I mean, I don't play PGA. And I made, I don't know, $3-4, which was about, I don't know, 20-30% ROI based on what I threw at PGA this week, just to test our coaching sheets and check our guys. I built strictly off the coaching sheets and used their notes. Who did they like? Who did the coaches prefer to play in cash games? And I went and built a lineup based off their 4 and 5 star confidence ratings. And it did fine. It went, I think it was 7-2 in head to heads, and I won a couple of 3-man leagues and whatever. I mean, I missed out on a tournament by just a little bit, but when I'm playing cash games and tournaments on top of each other, I don't need to hit the tournament. Because if I get close to hitting the tournament, I've blown cash away and I've more than doubled my money. And then I cruise on in to the tournaments if I get a little bit luckier and have a little bit better day. That's how I tend to play. It's how I tend to teach. If that's how you want to learn how to adjust your budgets, your bankrolls, and your contest allocation, you need to come in here and click these links. So hopefully I see you on the inside, whether it's on a trial or whether it's on, I won't be able to tell which one you are. So I'm going to treat you all the same, and you'll get a real good sample of what we're all about at DFSArmy.com. Take care, guys. Have a good Monday, and we'll hopefully talk to you on Tuesday.